Um. Here at the Columbus Metropolitan Library at the Hilltop Branch. We're gonna go ahead and call to order, and we are gonna go ahead and get started with a roll call.
Okay, when you're present, say here, Chair Team. Siobhan's present.
Present.
Thank you. Vice Chair Amin,
Here.
Treasurer McKee,
Here.
Secretary Archer is present, and starting with Commissioner Edward. Here. Commissioner White.
Here.
Commissioner Kitchen.
Here.
Commissioner Valentine.
Here.
Commissioner Carr.
Here.
Commissioner Bates.
Here.
Commissioner Maddox.
Here.
Commissioner Plinko.
Here.
Commissioner Montana.
Present.
And Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Only individual absent tonight, right now is Commissioner Wilkerson. We are Metaquorum for 15.
Alrighty, folks, so we do have the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions of any agenda items at all? Alrighty, and can we go ahead and approve the minutes and agenda from a last full commission meeting?
So moved. Second.
Alrighty, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Beautiful. Alrighty, folks, so we're gonna,
So while we're just right here, can we approve this agenda as well? I'll motion for that.
yes, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty. Alrighty, folks, jumping right ahead. We're gonna go into our community activity reports. Was Officer Cody here for the Division of Police? I don't see him. Anyone here from the City Attorney's Office? Beautiful.
All right, well, good to be back with you all. I appreciate your patience with me and with from City Attorney Zach Klein's office, as I have been out on maternity leave several of the last few months. So happy to be back in the office and have my feet back under me. For those who might not met before, Rob Dorsum on the property actions for the West Side, live here in Westgate. Just had a few quick updates to share with you all, and then I'm happy to take questions on any topics of interest, nuisance properties in particular of interest. On the property action team, we file all nuisance abatement lawsuits on behalf of the city of Columbus that can encompass a long list of things. But generally, we're talking about code violations, zoning violations, as well as criminal activity, especially with drug activity. First, with respect to a property that, if I'm not mistaken, is actually mostly forested area along the train tracks north of Eakin Road. What we have seen over many years, if I'm not mistaken, quite a bit of illegal dumping. And there's some folks living on the land there periodically. I did authorize filing a case against that property owner over the last several years. Code has been out there to abate, i.e. pick up trash after giving notice to the owner several times. I do anticipate that property will be in court. 379 South Terrace was recently boarded up by agreement with the owner. Police executed a couple of search warrants over the last couple of years, each resulting in the recovery of narcotics. So that property will, I expect, be boarded up for a period of time, at least several weeks, beginning on a date a couple weeks ago. That case is actually being handled by my colleague who typically handles the south side. Part of the reason for that is because part of my time right now is being consumed by a matter that I have set for trial on April 24th. I don't know if I had an opportunity to provide an update about this case. For the most part, it was handled by colleagues while I was out on leave. However, a couple of properties I would highlight: 1691 to 1709 Sullivan Avenue. This is going to be on the southwest corner of Sullivan and Helen. Just in the last few weeks, we've seen a homicide there. In fall of 2025, police did execute a search warrant in one unit and recovered drugs. 1885 to 1895 Sullivan Avenue in summer and fall of 2025. That first floor commercial space, which has apartments above it had hosted an after-hours club that saw crowds of several dozen people spilling out onto Sullivan in the middle of the night. Both those properties, along with approximately a handful of others, primarily concentrated in that same kind of 5 or so block stretch of Sullivan Avenue, are each owned by the same property owners. We had filed a comprehensive and criminal activity related, code enforcement related case on each property owned by them in the city of Columbus. I expect that case will go to trial probably on April 24th. If it doesn't resolve before then. So I can just provide that quick update on that, keep brief, happy to take any questions that anybody has. Anytime. So,
Yeah, so going back to the Whitethorn Woods property, as of, I think, Monday or last week, it's pending. So can you kind of elaborate on like how your office is gonna handle the sale of that
pending
property?
sale. Yeah, so it depends on what stage you're at when a sale goes through, assuming the sale goes. Right? If it's sold to a private party, after we file, then that party is simply substituted the court case because they're purchasing it subject to the court case. Assuming it transfers to a different private party before the filing of a court case, then we would issue notice to the new owner and give them some period of time. Typically, that's gonna be, it can be anywhere from 5 to 30 days, to make up before we consider refiling.
Do you know where you're at in that filing stage?
I mean, I literally signed off on the packet today, so we are at the very beginning of that process. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Rob, for these updates. I also want to ask a question about Whitethorn Woods and just understand some of the mechanisms behind this over the last 2 years. Because this was almost 50 new acres of green space that we were really looking forward to be able to champion. Article Columbus Underground that there was in the 2025 fiscal year for Franklin County projects through MORPC, almost $700,000 allocated through the Clean Ohio program. 693,875. I'm assuming that money will not be spent on that. Maybe others in the room know. What
I do
happened
not.
to $700,000, the potential park investment?
I do know where that money went, and that went back to the state, because it was a grant that the city applied for and actually achieved. But because they didn't use it for the initial purpose, which was that project, they legally have to give that money back to the state of Ohio so they can reissue it to another grant application.
Okay, a potential future additional grant for West Side.
And I had been in receipt of that, I say rumor because I'm just looking at the code enforcement packet that's in front of me and providing you all the updates as quickly as possible. I had been in receipt of that rumor that it was going to become park space. I would anticipate, as we're moving forward with something, potentially we will be in touch with the relevant agencies just to determine, just at least so I have a context whether it continues to be interest. Because obviously our goal is to move the ball forward and make it a better space for the community, not obstruct anything else that could improve the community. So, okay. All right, thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you, Rob. Alrighty, moving forward, Jessamine is not with us today, but we do have an update from City Council from Councilmember Melissa Green, actually.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Am I supposed to use a microphone? Josh, do you think they can hear me online? I think that's, okay, cool. I don't need a microphone in this room as long as that's happening. Want to make sure people can hear me so they can appropriately heckle me online. My name is Melissa Green. I am your Columbus City Council member. I represent Columbus from right here in District 6. Live on the hilltop. I am your chair of our Health, Human Services and our Equity Committee and our vice chair of our Workforce and Education Committee. And it is a very real, absolute pleasure to be here with all of you tonight. I thought Jocelyn looked like she needed a night off, and I happened to have a night off, which I never allowed myself to take. So I thought I would come and just say hello to everybody. I am here with no purpose or agenda, well, other than the agenda on my phone I'm getting ready to go through, but no hidden agenda. It is not an election season. I am just here to be present and engaged, and I promised my friend Wayne and his son Bryce, who had to hear me speak at Westland Area Commission last month, that I would not speak as long as I did then, because I literally put his sweet little son to sleep, and he was so adorable. So anywho, I'm gonna share a few updates from Jocelyn, and the rest of my colleagues on council. Just a little bit about some things that are going on, with council right now. So we have, some updates that are gonna be provided on the rental registry next, week on April 15th at 11 a.m. during a press conference. So I'd encourage everyone to tune in to that. I know that, establishing a rental registry was actually one of the goals and priorities in the Envision Hilltop plan. It's something that we talked a lot about as a community, in order to give relief to some of those issues. Oh, Rob already left.
Mhm.
And I was just gonna give them credit. So in order to be able to give, some, you know, some, a little bit better support in preventing, some of those code situations from happening before they come to a crisis, and then we have to go through a whole court process. So, if we are able to land that plane, which I'm very confident we are going to do, I'll be very excited to be able to report that back as a win for something that I know this community has advocated for so long. We are going to be also holding, on the 15th as well, in the evening from 3:30 to 5, a public utilities and sustainability hearing, kind of like centered around Earth Month. I don't know if you guys have been tuning into the work that my colleague Councilmember White has been doing in the environmental space, but it is really good work. He has managed in a very short amount of time to get some good policy across the finish line, is taking a really deep dive on the data center issue, which I know is about most important to all of our community, and is really being an incredible leader in that space. So I want to give a shout out to him, and I would encourage everyone to, you know, if you don't want to come to the hearing, you know, follow along and stay up to date to some of the work, because there's some really cool work happening in that space. National Night Out grants are live now. I know that this community always hosts several really great and wonderful events. So the deadline for those applications are April 1st, and you can apply through the National Night application portal with the Department of Neighborhoods. Also, Zach Klein is going to be hosting, and I will be attending, an upcoming West Side Community Safety meeting that's gonna be on April 22nd at 6 p.m. I did not check the calendar, but please, for the love of God, tell me that's also not on the same night as this area commission, like the Blueprint Columbus meeting is tonight, which I apologize for. I immediately pointed out that error, and it was way too down the road for me to be able to stop it and change course. But speaking of Blueprint Columbus, I know that they came here last week to the meeting. Oh, they do want me. I knew it. I knew it. I know that Blueprint Columbus came last week to the meeting and talked a little bit about the work that they are doing in the neighborhoods here. I imagine they also probably hit on the lead line replacement program that is happening right now. And I just want to do an extra plug for that. I had a person come and knock on my door here on the hilltop where I live. And of course, it's always at the most inconvenient time where you're not ready to receive guests, but I let them in anyways, did my civic duty, and I myself had the bad kind of pipes. And it literally took 5 minutes, if that, for them to go down with a magnet and identify it. And so I would just really encourage everyone. I reached out to the Department of Public Service, because I'm like, let's just do like some sort of video or something, you know, people can really see how easy it is, which I think we're gonna move forward with doing. And then through that conversation, I also learned that through Blueprint Columbus, if you missed the first round of sump pumps for your basement, there is now an opportunity for people to get those as well, which I can't tell you how devastating it is for me every time I have a person contact me and ask about, you know, they've had something back up in their basement, and then I just feel guilty about the fact that this was available and then it wasn't. And so it is alive again. So please, you know, stay up to date with the work that Blueprint is doing. And if there's anything that we can support you with, in helping to get connected, everyone in this room probably has my personal phone number. So please feel free to use it. I am going to pause there. I don't know, however, if you are signed up I'm literally reading notes off of Catherine Cole's weekly updates that she sends about all things that are happening at the city. And I love and value and appreciate Catherine for so many reasons, but one of the reasons is because she keeps me up to date on things that are happening at the city. And so if you too would like to have her keep you up to date, please reach out to, you can reach out to Jocelyn, probably is the best place, and she can help make sure that you get added to that listserv, because there's a lot of really incredible resources and events that are happening here, opportunity fairs, pollinator garden planning, skate parties. Also, I just want to also give a huge shout out to Commissioner Bates, who this weekend did an absolutely incredible job, kind of, I don't know, what would you call it, refereeing the Easter egg
All my
hunt?
job was to make sure the kids did their job and we did the
Well,
stuff. The kids did all the work.
So he had his troop members come out and help at the annual Easter egg hunt, which we hosted at several locations around the west side. Westgate Park, Dodge Park in Franklinton, and then of course on Glenwood. And I saw you at the Westgate one. And your kiddos did an absolutely amazing job, and it was a super fun thing, and it is one of my things that our family looks forward to every year. So shout out to you guys for all of the public service that you do.
Thank
for our community.
I will pass that along to the kids.
Yes. So I will pause there so I can keep my promise to Wayne and Bryce. But I am happy to entertain any questions that you guys might have, any pressing issues you want to talk about. You know, I think one thing that I'm always trying to be conscious of every single day is make sure that my advocacy, the voice that I'm carrying forward in the work that I'm doing is your voice. And I take that job really, really seriously. And so, you know, I don't want to make anyone feel like they're on the spot now, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have or take any feedback or, you know, anything that I need to be keeping at the front of my mind, so that I can be the best advocate for this community that I can be.
Question, so about the rental registry, has there been any talk about adding commercial properties to the rental registry?
Not that I'm aware of, no, at this point.
I know when we spoke about 3 weeks ago, kind of revolving around the Whitethorn Woods, issues that came. That was mentioned to me at a Rexton Park, meeting. I had mentioned a couple of times about how the city can be, more proactive about what's going on with area commissioners, especially when we submitted a letter of approval for the grant application. Because again, it was kind of, me and Joe were both blindsided that a community member just shot up and was like, hey, this happened, why didn't you know about it? And it's not like we didn't actively disengage from the project, it's just, in our eyes, we approved the letter of support and it was on track to being a finalized thing, but like, you know, like I mentioned to you, like, we never get any follow-up after the city asks us to do something. And we seem to always be like the last to know. So like, have you made any progress? Are there any updates of trying to get either a Rexton Park department or all of the main departments to kind of say, hey, like, you need to do a little more back work to say if a project's delayed or not going through or X, Y, and Z, that you actually let the area commissions know.
Well, yes, so I brought this issue up with Director Reese yesterday, the issue about this particular parcel, and she didn't have any firm details to be able to share with me in terms of like what that deal was that fell through, but my promise to her was to be able to follow up and try to understand better a little bit about what happened. In terms of that ongoing feed gap loop, where's old BC? I feel as if, because I did her job for so many years, I have literally been working for the West Side for more than a decade. I know that, you know, the way that we have structured a lot of the stuff that is that old BC, it should be that point of contact to try to carry that message forward. And then she has a direct line to be able to work with all of the city departments. I think in this case with this particular Rec and Park deal, especially if it was area involvement on the front end, it probably would have been normal standard operating procedures to have them follow back up with you. And I imagine maybe just a little bit of oversight, or the way that it seems to me is that there was some, I don't even know. Like, it seems as if they were really moving forward and wanting, you know, applying for that grant, wanting to acquire this parcel, and then something occurred to make it happen. So I'm not really sure what their process is over there in Rec and Parks, but I would definitely lean on Old BC. She is, even better than I ever was or could be. At making sure that we are getting all of the things, all the questions answered for everything that you have, and making sure that none of that stuff is falling through the cracks. It is the struggle of my life, especially now more than ever in this role where I feel like I know less than I ever did on the opposite side, some days anyways. To always be trying to get that feedback when I, like, for example, the conflicting blueprint meeting that's occurring right now at this exact same time as the Hilltop Area Commission just blocks away from here. When I learned of that a week ago, it was like a dagger in the heart because, it's just like small things, but I generally think we're always trying to do the best that we can. And, I think one thing that we're also committed to do, or at least our office is committed to do, is getting the, standing meeting set up with the chair here and kind of like getting in a good routine where at a minimum, we can have better accountability to make sure that that feedback loop isn't getting missed. So we'll be more in the know about what things we should be keeping an eye on.
Okay. I do have a question, and it's okay, this may not be totally a city council question. But Blueprint did, of course, come out last meeting. Some folks do get them confused with LEAP, the LEAP program. And on the topic of LEAP, I wanted to know what's exactly the city's plan for addressing like the entire program pretty transparently. I recently found out that going through the LEAP program does place a lien on folks's mortgage. The only reason, and the reason I bring this up, and folks feel free to correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm a little in over my head. I know when it comes to liens, it can make it difficult for folks looking to refinance their home, as well as if it goes unpaid. It does kind of make leeway for folks the city, in this case, the city, to for sale, to recover that money. So I just wanted to know if we had any plans just on making, both Blueprint and LEAP a little bit more transparent to residents, or just, how well city council is working with those folks in those programs, just to make like language plain to folks.
So I think with the LEAP program, depending on where you fall in the income level, it would depend on whether or not what options are available to you for that public assistance for those like utility related emergencies. And it is something that I am always thinking about. I literally, right before I left my house, just left a voicemail for somebody. I was meeting with a sweet woman who is a caretaker of her grandchild, and she is dealing with some incredibly challenging chronic health issues. And because our health insurance system is so messed up, their family makes like a living and, would normally like be okay financially wise, but also if you have a certain amount of medical bills, they'll force you to pay those ridiculously high bills before they will allow you to access any more treatment. And so she's like, I've got this $400 utility bill that I can't pay because I can't get this life-saving treatment if I don't pay this other bill. And so, thinking about like all of those barriers of like what policy things can we put in place to address even issues like that, and so to always be looking at creative solutions to figure out how to make government work better for people. So yes, it's something I'm thinking about. I unfortunately, as I know that my lovely state representative Tina Humphrey, who's in the house tonight, often feels as well, is that we do more blocking and tackling of bad things from happening than we often do of scoring touchdowns on good things, but it is never going to keep me from fighting for the good.
Do anyone have any more questions, comments, concerns to bring up to Councilmember Green at all? All righty, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for letting me be here tonight, Chair.
Absolutely, and of course, I look forward to speaking to you.
Yes.
All righty, folks, we are going to call BC for any announcements and updates she has for the Department of Neighborhoods.
Commissioners,
Evening.
I do not have very many announcements for you tonight. Just a couple reminders. the Pride Center rebranding, vote, I would ask that you guys vote tonight, because the mayor's office would like, all area commission feedback by April 30th. So if that's at all possible, please, vote on that, please. And thank you to, all the commissioners that were able to attend the Zone In webinar that was hosted on, March 31st. There were a lot of questions, a lot of, useful information on that. If you were not able to attend, the recording of that, presentation is available on the resource section of the, area commission website. If you go to the I Am a Commissioner page, we try to post all of the, slide decks and recordings from, previous trainings. So, you'll be able to find it there. And I also emailed the link to the training. So you should have that in your, inbox as we speak. And, just another reminder, actually, never mind. That event has passed. I made this announcement just a little early, so never mind. Just want to leave off with, Link Us is beginning, the next round of their engagement. They will be at, various locations, across the west side, over the next, couple of months. So I, highly recommend going to their website and, finding out, when they'll be, in the Hilltop area. I think it'll be sometime between May and June, that they'll be at several sites, including Glenwood, Rec Center. It'll be a great opportunity to answer questions, learn more about, the schedule and, potential good that will come from that, the great work that they're doing. And, take a look at the, Westside Bulletin when that comes out, because I'll be sure to post the, meeting information there as well. And that is all I have for you. Do you have any questions for me? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lucy. And yes, we will vote on that with unfinished business. Do we have anyone from Envision Hilltop at all? Hilltop Rise? All right, so we don't have any presentations today.
I have zone in.
So sorry, zone in. How could I miss zone in? I'm so sorry, guys.
Good evening. Thank you for your question. Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening. My name is Stephanie Kensler. I'm a planning manager with the City of Columbus Planning Division. And I am here tonight to provide an update on Zone In, which, as you all know by now, is the city's initiative to update our 70-year-old zoning code. So we were here last in February, so I just wanted to share kind of an update of what we've been doing since then, and then a status update of where the actual draft code stands, and then talk about some upcoming engagement opportunities as we move into the summer. So since we were not here in March, I believe we shared a newsletter with the group, that everyone received. And then we also worked as a team to engage with the various area commissioner chairs and zoning chairs in kind of one-on-one zoning code, zone-in presentations. And then, as Lucy mentioned, at the end of March, we held the area commissioner and major civic members zone-in specific webinar where we shared that same presentation. And that is, the recording is accessible if you're not able to attend, or if you just wanted to circle back on that. It should be available on the area commission portal, or if you have any issues accessing it, because we had to share it as a link, please don't hesitate to reach out and we can make sure that you get a copy of that. So that's what we've been doing since we were here last. So next, I just wanted to share an update on the actual code. The team has been working with the consultants to come up with the actual zoning districts that will be a part of phase 2. Those new zoning districts will support the overall goals of Zone In, as well as the Columbus growth strategy. And they're gonna fall into three primary land use buckets, which we spent a lot of time talking about as a part of the growth strategy. So those buckets are mixed use, business and institutional campus, and industrial warehouse. So where the draft stands now is we're looking at 15 zoning districts as a part of phase 2. Unfortunately, I don't have the specifics. We're not there yet of what the standards for each of those districts are. As far as like height, setback, we also don't have the map figured out yet. That's where this next set of engagement is gonna be really important. But I did want to share what we're thinking at this point and what those districts look like. So of the 15 districts that will be included in phase 2, 6 of those are existing mixed-use districts that were approved as a part of phase 1 in 2024. So that's that urban core, urban center, the community activity center, regional activity center, and then those urban general 1 and 2 zoning districts that were already created and adopted. In addition to that, for phase 2, there will be 9 new districts. And again, those fall into those 3 buckets. So for the mixed use districts, there will be 3 new ones that are being proposed at this point. Obviously, all of this is subject to change. But that would include potentially a 3-story district, a 4-story district, and then an industrial mixed use district that would allow for some additional light industrial uses. For the business and institutional campus districts, again, there are 3 proposed. There's a large campus district that's going to account for our bigger institutions like Ohio State or some of our larger hospital campuses like Nationwide Children's. And then there will be a 5 to 7 story employment focused district, and then a 7 to 10 story employment focused district. And those are going to have requirements. While there could be a mix of uses in those districts, they're going to have specific requirements for office space. I don't know exactly what those specifics will be, but that's kind of the difference between those districts and the just straightforward mixed use districts. And then the industrial districts, again, 3, there's gonna be a light industrial, heavy industrial, and then an industrial district. And that's essentially gonna be light industrial with some additional design type standards. So those are the 15 districts that we are looking at for phase 2. And as I said, the specifics of those have not been determined yet, but there will be a draft presented for public comment and community engagement at the start of the 60-day public comment period. I can't tell you when that's gonna start. It's fluid, somewhat. I think we were originally hoping that it would kick off in May, but it is a little bit subject to change based on how the council calendar has changed for 2026. But rest assured, it will be heavily advertised when that kicks off, and then all of the engagement opportunities that will be a part of that. With that, I wanted to share just an update on kind of the engagement opportunities that are coming up. So on the left, that's kind of a recap of what I was talking about, the work that we've been doing over the last few months. And then on the right is what we're looking forward to as we move into summer. So whenever that 60-day public comment period does kick off, it's going to include similar engagement opportunities to phase 1. So there's going to be a large public survey that goes out. We will be hosting another zoning gallery. There will be a public webinar. I mentioned we just did a webinar for area commissioners and major civic members. We'll do something very similar for the public about the draft code once we get to that point. There will be several public hearings, stakeholder interviews, and then special events will be scheduled at the gallery as well. Once that 60-day public comment period concludes, there will be another public hearing prior to council consideration of adopting the new code. And then at the bottom is that standard zone-in overall project timeline that you've been seeing for years at this point. Just focusing on that we're kind of in the thick of 2026 and looking towards council consideration in the fall with this next section of the code. So again, all of this is very conceptual, and I'm telling you a lot, but also not telling you a lot at the same time. But we wanted to share what we have because it is an exciting update in the process, and just make a pitch that we hope that everyone will stay engaged with us as we go. And the best ways to do that are watching out for our project emails and being on our newsletters. If you are not already, we encourage everyone to sign up. You can do that on the Zone-In website. Also, just checking out the Zone-In website. That's our best resource for all of this information. And then just following us on social media. As I said, we'll be advertising all of these things as they're coming up pretty heavily. And then if you have any questions, at any time in this, whether it's about something I presented tonight, or the overall timeline, or the webinar, any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to zoningupdate@columbus.gov. I know I've passed the business cards out to you all before, but I left a stack of them over there. If we have anyone in the audience who does not have access to that email address, or if you guys just want more to hand out to your friends and your neighbors, we left a stack over there, but please don't hesitate to reach out. And then lastly, I just wanted to share that, similar to how we were here in February, but not in March, we will not be here for a presentation in May, but we'll be back in June to share additional updates. And just again, thank you for your time, and please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. Yes.
Quick question. As you were talking about the business and institutional campus, you said there'd be kind of the large campus, and you referenced Ohio State and Nationwide Children's as examples of that already. My assumption, if anyone wants to disagree with me, let me know, is that here in the Hilltop, we'll probably have the smaller campus designations for those kind of activities, would be my gut.
I'm not sure which ones are in or out. I'm sure there will be, probably, some designation potentially based on size.
ODOT.
ODA, yeah, okay.
Yeah, ODOT might be, I don't know, just an idea.
Yeah.
A large campus.
Yeah, so we'll see. And I think that is one of those things where if you can get, folks to engage with us, and maybe, that one should be, but we don't have it as such in the draft, or vice versa. That's really, really important for folks to share that feedback with us.
So one of my thoughts, especially thinking of the two that you mentioned, Ohio State and Children's, one of the things about both of their layouts is the amount of green space and the walkability of those campuses, being able to be outside and walking, yet, and obviously there are issues with parking, but there is parking structures and things like that available. And as we look at how to attract businesses that have been setting up further and further out, which has environmental and traffic and all those kind of things, to bring them back in, developing kind of those public green spaces on those campuses, that walkability, that positive kind of feel as people are walking from their cars or from the bus stop into the building, I think it's gonna go a long way here in the Hilltop. So as we look at some of those design specifications, to work those in, to have that green space, to have that walkability factor. Otherwise, we get more big, large sterile buildings. The developer's happy because they rent it out quickly. 2 years later, people are moving to the other side of town where they get a new tax break, or, out to the suburbs where they're paying less, and things like that. So it's really building in that culture, I think, of walkability that could really, strengthen some of that business desire to stay here in the city and in the Hilltop.
Yeah, and I mean, business and institutional campus is a cornerstone of the space, so I think that's great feedback. And please, when the survey comes out, please share that, come to the zoning gallery and share that. Take that into consideration. Thank you.
Can I add something too?
Yeah.
I think that, I would be happy to, ahead of this map coming out, if we want to convene something with you, Chair, and then you, Nick, and whoever else, it's always good to get thoughts and ideas on the front end too, just to inform the proposed map. One thing that was really frustrating for me about phase 1 of zoning, for example, to be very candid with you, West Broad Street, we are about ready to have the first bus rapid transit line in the entire city that's going to be able to handle high density development and eliminate such an intense need for cars. And so much of West Broad Street was still limited to a 3-story height limit. And every other main corridor, except for Cleveland Avenue, had a higher height limit. Now, I don't know if that's something that the community, that would have been worthy of a discussion, but I commented on it over and over and over again that this needs to be looked at. But we didn't get the data to support that. And even if we would have a change that was to that level of raising a height limit versus dropping a height limit, was something that people felt uncomfortable about, because not everyone would have had a chance to consider it during the 60-day comment period. So when I can't tell you enough how important engagement is in this process. And I know that everyone on this neighborhood and on this hill is being meetinged to death, including me. You know, we've got the lead project, we've got the blueprint project, we've got the BRT, we've got the walkable neighborhood community, which for some reason is separate from the bus thing. And now this. But this is so important, and because like the work that gets done here is really going to chart the trajectory for how development happens, where development happens, where opportunity happens in our neighborhoods. And this is not a scenario where like we are trying to look where the plan has already been developed and it's all set in stone. Like we really want this feedback and we want it to be informed by the community, but even having some of those conversations on the front end, I think could be beneficial and just planting seeds.
Thank you.
And sorry if it sounded like I was yelling, but I just didn't wanna.
Any other questions or comments? Yes.
Yeah, so going back to both what Commissioner Bates and Councilmember Green said, and going on the website, it says the goal is of the zoning code update is to promote growth. Do you know if in the zone in recommendation, if there's gonna be any outlining incentives for how the city can implement growth? I bring that up because as an example, on North Wilson Road, we had a zoning application that came through that the commission overwhelmingly supported. It was a Sheets that was going in an abandoned field that, you know, somebody had promised to build a church for 20 years, but they never did it. And the city rejected it because they wanted that parcel to be a employment center, which what it was originally zoned for. We kind of pushed back and said, no, the community supports this gas station because it does bring in employment. It brings in a well-known brand to the community. But the city refused to acknowledge that if they wanted that parcel to be an employment center, that they would have to incentivize it in a way that brought that development in, because it hadn't attracted that for over the 20 years it had been vacant. So do you know if zoning is gonna make those recommendations, or if in the fall of 2026, the city of Columbus is gonna say, hey, the west side is very under incentivized when it comes to actual meaningful projects and not just a casino. So like which one of you or city council is going to actually step up and put that out there? Because we can promote growth and we can promote the zoning change, but if nobody's going to step up and say, hey, this under-invested community doesn't have any incentives for growth, then we're just changing the zoning code to change it so it positively affects another community.
I mean, so I will say from my part, I don't believe that council rejected that application. I just don't think it ever made it to us. If it didn't make it through the development commission process or get a recommendation and that applicant pulled it. At least I don't remember voting no on a gas station, and I very rarely will vote no against this commission, or, you know, out of step with this commission. With the exception, I did support the project for our aging neighbors. What's the word? I'm searching for it.
The retirement home?
The retirement home, or an assisted living facility. However, you know, I think that what these zones will do is create space for like large buckets, not dissimilar from our current zoning code. And then, you know, generally the market, you know, sort of drives development, but I do think that there's a lot of work that we have to do with incentivizing development. And one thing that I think is really interesting, if you were here a couple weeks ago when we launched the what's the walkable name? What's the word I'm searching for? The companion piece to building that stuff, yes. And so, you know, Representative Cockley was talking about the way that even just in the state budget, capital budget requests they're getting, you know, people are really prospecting around and like submitting applications for support for projects in areas where they have these opportunities for growth. Like the West Broad corridor where the BRT is gonna be, and like these designated areas. I actually think Wayne, you and I talked about this as well. This is Wayne is, we're gonna just be friends now, I think. But he is a community developer, but he's like, I like to get to know communities before I start doing stuff, which I think is super freaking cool. But even he was talking about like needing a roadmap to better understand like where development is wanted and what type of. And so if you get a good developer like Wayne, he's gonna start coming to your meetings, not because he wants anything from you, but just because he wants to get to know you and understand the community. And so I think that that's the opportunity that we have to be, if we're all actually really engaged in this process, that we have the opportunity to kind of cultivate a guide that will support more folks like Wayne coming in our community.
And as far as the zoning code, I mean, it really is regulating use, and it's regulating development standards on property. So I'm not 100% sure of any opportunities to really like incentivize as a part of this phase of the code, but I'll certainly take the sheets on North Wilson Road case back and see if there's anything that the team knows that I don't. Follow up.
Just in response to of like the incentivize for development. I know like Jobs Ohio, that's one of the things they do, so like it's more at the state level and they work really closely with the county and the city. Because at Hilltop Rise, we recently visited Stack Pharma, which received some money from Jobs Ohio to do employment opportunities on Philippi Road, and then also do an expansion of like a phased expansion to add more jobs. So Jobs Ohio is certainly a resource, but again, it's statewide, so it's a little different.
But even that, I think like, so we also have economic development incentives at the city that we use, or as people like to commonly call them, tax abatements. And I think that the challenges, both with the state stuff and with the city stuff, some things that I'm grappling with is that for the most part, we're not looking at those incentives as a tool to incentivize a type of development. We're mostly looking at it from like a number of jobs factor. So not necessarily evaluating for the quality of jobs, but the quantity of jobs. And so I really think this is something that I've been thinking about a lot and trying to better understand, you know, whether even or not legally, we could try to figure out how to take a better community wealth building approach in the way that we are using economic incentives. And I may find we're restricted from the state from doing that, but I think I'm very, very committed to figuring out how we can make sure, you know, if the public is trying to invest or incentivize jobs being created, then there need to be, you know, jobs that are not just going to provide like a high quality of living, but like also that are going to meet community needs, or like that folks in our communities are going to see a direct economic and, you know, economic benefit basically.
Last question. Do you know how the zoning code is gonna classify data centers? It's a hot topic issue right now, and I just.
Down actually. So it's my understanding that in the current version of the draft code, that is listed as a heavy industrial use. I don't know any more than that, but I know that's where it is right now.
Just everybody keep on the lookout for heavy industrial use in the Hilltop, because it has a high potential to become a data center. I'm not saying that it is happening or what happened or it's gonna happen, but I do believe with, you know, our biggest employer, Big Lots, giant facility, over off of, was it, Philippi and, West Broad? I mean, it could be redeveloped as that, but it's a never off the table kind of thing, so. I don't wanna see a data center on the west side. Prefer it if they didn't exist in Hilltop at all, so. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you again. So we will be moving forward with our reports of officers. Again, we don't have any presentations today. I know that we have Representative Humphrey in the building. Okay, so.
You don't wanna preach to them.
Yeah, shout out to her, and all the work that she continues to do, of course. But moving along, we will go ahead and, we do zoning first.
Do officer reports first and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so first, our report will be community relations from, Chairperson Ashley. Did you have anything to share?
Yes, so do you wanna?
Do officer.
There's a.
So sorry, y'all, sorry.
Shit.
I'm seeing now. I mean, yeah, okay, y'all. Reports of officers, thank you guys for having my back. So chairperson, reports on my end. Currently, the big thing that is coming up is I was contacted by Lisa Armour. Who is basically the contact, for the expungement clinic. I spoke a little bit about this with our Human Services Committee, but they are looking, to host their expungement clinic in the fall, late August, here in the Hilltop. We did have a conversation and just brainstorm a little bit about some potential venues. So, of course, we suggested our recreation centers, of course, here at Hilltop Library. I do believe, from her meeting, she has been in contact with Malcolm at Westgate. For those of you who may remember, Malcolm did come out a few months ago. Lovely person, so I think they are working on that. So Lisa definitely wanted us to make sure that we were spreading the word. There will be pre-registration for folks who are interested. And they are also actively looking for volunteers to be present with like some directing, just kind of, directing traffic flow. Of course, some of our judges will be there. So yeah, so that's something to look forward to. And I've been working with her and we'll continue to work together. Again, that'll be in late August. We don't have an exact date confirmed yet, but just be on the lookout for that. And I believe that is all I have. Does our vice chair have any reports?
Real quick.
Hi, everyone. Quick update from Mountain Hope Foundation. We're hosting a community conversation on April 18th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you're available, please join us.
All righty, and reports from our secretary.
Looks like, just one commissioner, remains, in the 3 absent point. Otherwise, all other commissioners are currently in good standing.
And our treasurer.
Yes, she got all the three.
So the finance committee, we met on Saturday, March 28th, here at the public library. We discussed our balance for the 25-26 fiscal year. And we created a list of assets in a Google database of those items so that we can use moving forward. And then also commissioners will be receiving information on how to use the credit for the t-shirts or whichever item you choose. Be on the lookout for the email from Ola BC. She will be sending out those promo codes. And then for our 26-27 budget, we discussed some items that we were gonna add for committees. We're gonna increase our advertising and marketing and social media budget. And then we're gonna include some pins, possibly a marketing billboard, maybe a bench billboard and some retractable signs. And then we were gonna add to our food and beverage budget line. And that will go towards 2 community events that the committees were talking about. Oh, it's up there. So food and beverage, we were thinking $300. Marketing and social media, we were thinking about 1,000. Our subscriptions, 800, and then miscellaneous expenses, at $400. And I believe tonight we will need to vote on, the new budget. Correct? Okay. Do we want to vote now or do you want to do unfinished business?
We can vote now.
Okay.
All right.
Do I need a second?
Second.
Discussion, or
Alrighty, folks, so I will go ahead and. Thank you. I'll go ahead and we can, just vote yes, no, one by one. How's that sound, folks? Or should we-
roll call, or we can just do voice?
Yeah, we can do voice too. That's cool. All right, all in favor of approving our 2026-2027 budget, say aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstained? All right, this is our 2026-2027 budget moving forward. Thank you so much, Treasurer McKee, for working hard on this. All right, so moving forward, now we'll have our reports of committees. And we'll hope that I can read my agenda for the rest of the meeting. All right, let's start off with zoning.
You want me to take the minute?
Yeah.
So during our zoning meeting this month on March 25th, we had multiple applications, but only one applicant attended to present for us, and that was BZA 26-019 for 411 Commerce Street. Asking for variances related to a storage building and setbacks. Is the applicant in the room? Not seeing the applicant this evening. We will table this vote for next month. And hopefully they'll be able to be in attendance. So our next meeting will be April 22nd. Hey, all right, there it is. 6:30 here. We currently have two applications, one that was carried over from last month because were not in attendance. To a new application, Z 26-013 for 2350 Westwood Drive, related to a rezoning of the property from an AR, which is apartment designation, into an M2 related to telecommunications tower.
Thank you, Nick. All right, so now we will go over to community relations, and we'll hear from Chairperson Ashley.
Sorry, I think they have an application.
Oh,
I was not able to, last month.
okay. So if you're not what was the application number?
26-013.
Okay, so you have been then placed on our schedule for this upcoming committee meeting on April 22nd. So yeah, just our process is you have to go through the committee first for discussion and assessment before the full commission. Yes, I'm sorry about that.
For community relations, we did meet on the 24th. We did review the logos that were presented to us the last, full commission meeting. But we did not have a full quorum for the committee. There were only 3 in attendance and we needed 4 to meet quorum, so we could not vote, as a committee. There were ones that the 3 present preferred, so I can share those and then we can vote, or if we wanna like put them on the screen, we can vote that way. It might be helpful if we pick the 2 that the committee liked, and then kind of vote from there, instead of just going around, but I'll defer to chair, what you would like to do. Other than the logo changes, we also discussed, items for the finance committee that was held after the community relations committee. So we, talked about, marketing materials to purchase. And then I just wanted to add something, to what Treasurer McKee had shared, about that asset list. So this is mainly for commissioners, but there is an asset list on our website now. So it's under the community relations, documents folder. And it's, labeled GHAC physical assets. And so these are all the items that we have as a commission to use. So if you're ever gonna table somewhere, or if you have an event coming up, please take a look at that list. It does have where it's stored too. So we have items that are stored at the West Side Pride Center. So those you would need to reach out to OLBC to, and then the ones that are stored here, at our, cubby at the library. So just please make a note where they're stored. And if we're missing anything, please let us know. Dan Fagan, if you have anything still at your house, please let us know. Store stuff in the past. But other than that, just let us know. It has like the quantities that we have too. Some of them are an estimate, some of them are exact. Yeah, oh, thank you, Josh. This is the list. So we have a lot of stuff. So don't order things until you check this list. But if we want to vote on the logo now, or if we want to do that in unfinished business.
We can vote now.
Okay. Josh, are you potentially able to pull up that? Okay, cool, thank you. So in the committee, again, there were only 3 committee members present. And so we could not take an actual vote. But the committee members that were present, which included myself, Commissioner McKee and Commissioner Maddox, we preferred the Columbus Connect Center B and then the Columbus Neighborhood Center B. So the 2 bottom right ones. So again, the Columbus Connect Center B and the Columbus Neighborhood Center B, those were the 2 leading ones discussed in our committee. So I would recommend, maybe we go around and we say, do we want the top B or the bottom B? I don't know, or do we want Connect Center, Neighborhood Center, whatever that may be. But that's how I would recommend we vote. If that's okay. OLBC, does that sound okay? Cool. Anyone want to start?
Alright, we can go ahead and start down here with Commissioner Kyle.
Of those 2, I would do the Columbus Connect Center B.
Commissioner James.
The same.
Commissioner Kitchen,
I like the Columbus Neighborhood Center.
Commissioner Valentine,
Columbus Connect.
and Commissioner Clark,
Neighborhood Center.
Commissioner Bates.
Connect Center.
There's 14 of us in the room tonight, so we feel. All right, Commissioner Mateen, Chair.
I'm going to go with the Columbus Neighborhood Center. Sorry.
I like Connect.
Connect. All right, Ronette,
Neighborhood Center.
Commissioner Madden.
Connect Center. Keep it going.
All right, Commissioner Tristan.
Connect Center.
I'll leave the 2 of you on the bill. I like neighborhood center. I did, I pushed for it.
I'm gonna change it to Connect though.
All right, so we're currently at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for Connect Center. And we have Kitchen, Carr, Mateen, Key, Ardero. Depending on where Mr. Smith goes.
Neighborhood Center.
So 6, 8. Okay, so that means
I'd rather be 16.
So then do we need a motion for this as well? Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so then based on this commission's vote, I motion that we recommend the Columbus Connect Center for the new Pride Center logo.
Second?
Second. Thought you were asking for a second.
You're seconding, Chad.
Yeah.
Thought you were asking, my apologies.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Alrighty, folks. So moving on ahead. So now we have the Human Services and Education reports. We do have a motion to bring forth, a part of the 66 Highland Park project. I know Joe has been working pretty hard on this, so I'll let Joe take it over.
Thank you. I'll just do a plug also for community relations. Next meeting is April 28th at 7 at the library or something. Okay, I'm gonna run through a couple of things fairly quickly here. And then, yes, get to this other piece. I do want to just quickly shout out and thank Highland West and North Hilltop. They have ongoing litter cleanups throughout the year, so I want to make sure to recognize them and other community partners who I know also take care of that throughout the year. Look forward to engaging as the summer moves forward. West Broad Elementary is hosting an Earth Day pollinator garden planning event on Wednesday, April 22nd at 4 p.m. There is registration at mobilize.us/OOC, which is mobilize.us for Ohio Organizing Collaborative. That includes a rock painting for kids, pollinator planting, pizza, and information on safe green schools. And then I also want to make sure to congratulate our partners at Vision Zero and Public Services on the installation of a new push-button pedestrian crosswalk signal at West Mound and Wheatland Avenue near Miltonia. For the community and for us to be aware of a new pedestrian signal pattern at that intersection for everyone learning how to use a new flashing signal. I have not gone there to look at it yet, but I wanted to make sure to mention that builds on resurfacing and modified travel and turn lanes and new medians and marked crosswalks on Mount Street between Central and Wayne. That was a part of all of that. Okay. Yes, then 66 South Highland. This came up in February. Here, presentation from the design support and the construction department. This is a lot that is sits just south of Highland Elementary. That was initially proposed as a full 100+ lot parking lot. And through leadership of the Highland Youth Garden, we were able to negotiate and discuss needs with public services. And the north half of this lot, abut up against the elementary school, is a proposed parking lot, which would include fencing, lighting, landscaping, cameras, refuse, and pedestrian access through. The south half of the lot will remain grassy, which we appreciate, especially with the zoning potential density happening just a block north. That includes fencing, landscaping, lighting, seeding, and refuse in the grass lot. We did not vote in February because there are existing traffic concerns on that is South Highland between Floral and West Broad in particular. So we engaged with representatives from public services and other departments to discuss potential solutions there. It was explained to us how the grant budgeting process worked, and there was not public dollars available for that specifically through that process. And because of the way that Linkus is coming in, They want the planning processes to be encompassed within the larger discussions. And so there was currently no promises that could be made for permanent traffic improvement on that stretch. However, the conversation didn't end there. We are actively considering temporary improvements within that school zone. In April, we have two departments. We have Vision Zero, and we have a school representative who's coming to the Human Services and Education Committee. I've already been communicating with them and have started to schedule with them about how that will work for permanent improvements on South Highland. This again is going from the Floral to the south, to Highland to the north, and how we can build in those future capital improvement within Linkus and their processes. And I'll also mention that this somehow got missed, but I was going back through resurfacing proposals, and Floral Avenue, west of Highland between Eureka and South Highland is on the 2026 resurfacing schedule. These get, announced, oh, sorry, I think I said Eureka, I think Oakley to Highland, which includes resurfacing there. And so there's activity happening right there. And when I requested information on Floral Avenue resurfacing, it didn't currently include the intersection at Floral and Highland. But we're narrowing in. We've got 66 Highland and then resurfacing there that is directly around that intersection and that strip up. This is a tough one for me because we're talking temporary and we're being told to wait when we're about to put a green spot in on 66 and it's directly across from Youth Garden, and it's surrounded by 3 education centers and a church. And it will incentivize young people to be running across that street and going into the park. And so we need temporary solutions at the very least, and we need long-term solutions actually at minimum. However, we've been asked to vote on it, and so I'm going to make the motion. This will be a roll call. I'm going to make the motion that we approve the 66 South Highland lot development as currently proposed, which includes the surfacing and apron in that for the lot, the fencing, the lighting, the camera, or they do public safety items. The refuse and the landscaping, all is proposed, also included sidewalks, I believe, on the west side of the lot, and also may have included on the south side, as well as the lot as proposed, which includes the landscaping, the lighting, seating in that grass lot, and the landscaping there are landscaping borders that protect people from driving up and in. We have 311s in as well for more striping on that side. So I do feel like we have momentum, and I don't want to hold them up from being able to do a positive improvement on that lot. Anyway, that's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Rick, second. Okay. And again, I said I don't want to do a roll call on this, so we'll go around the room, say if you're support or in favor or against, or if you're abstaining for any reason. And I will start with myself, and I'll go on the before I can, and then I'll just move around clockwise here to my left. Commissioner Montana.
I vote in favor. I share Joe's concerns about the education center, but I do believe that the city departments we've been working with have heard us and are looking for solutions.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Smith.
As an employee of the property owner, I'm gonna have to abstain.
Okay, Commissioner Edwards.
I'm a yes. Well,
Commissioner White.
I do want to add the caveat that I believe the letter of support should include the commission concerns, but I am in favor of the project. I'm not trying to derail it. Yeah, and I think using our voice when it comes to these kinds of requests from the city of Columbus, our opinions do matter, and they should be written down when they do seek our approval from it. So with that, I'm just going to vote for this project as a yes. My opinion's been recorded, and kept online, so if there's any issues or a kid dies. So be it, we've all voiced our concerns on the improvements that need to happen in this corridor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, Commissioner Kitchen
Yes.
and Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Bates,
Yes.
and so on, yeah, Commissioner Team.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner,
Yes.
Commissioner McKee. And Commissioner Maddox
Yes.
and Commissioner Pilger. Thank you. Okay, that is 13 in favor, none against, one abstention. So that motion passes. Thank you for the comment. Part of this included from the committee. Oh, the committee did vote in favor back in March. No, sorry, in February. I need to mention that previously. We have some momentum right now with Department of Neighborhoods and with Public Services. So they're coming in April, and I look forward to getting some additional streetscape improvement here. Lakers is taking up a lot of oxygen in the room, and it's challenging to get smaller immediate projects done when they're asking us to wait. But that's the position I'm in. Okay, let me just make sure to mention that the next meeting is going to be April 15th here at the library. That again is focused on this the majority of the time, and any other project updates from committee members. Thank you.
All right, folks. Thanks again, Joe, for all your work with that project. Of course, we don't have any liquor permits to review. So with that, we'll go ahead and hand it. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, you guys. So we will actually go to government and legislation with Josh, Chairperson Josh.
Thanks, Vincent. So, talked about a few different things when we met in March on the 24th. Mainly kind of talked about the elections coming up. Kind of get some ideas on general areas that we may want to hold the elections or have folks come and vote from. So library is kind of always a general location, but then trying to think of ways we can get a little bit further out opposed to just kind of the standard spots that we usually go to. Some of the discussion include Georgia Heights, Big Run, Riverbend Park. But if you have any ideas of good locations that we could have folks come and vote at, obviously feel free to send me an email or come to our next meeting on the 28th of this month. We also need to go through the petition to see if there are any, we read through, there didn't really seem to be any edits at this point. There are a couple small things that need to be updated, but we'll review that again the next meeting, just to make sure everything's cleared by through there. We were asked, and I don't have it with me because I emptied my backpack apparently. The city asked us to take a look at the pledge of ethical conduct that was discussed last full commission meeting. And so we did talk about that, going through our current bylaws. We do have a couple items that are similar. And then this kind of expands upon that a bit more. So looking at, this is something that we'll be discussing in the next meeting as well. Keeping Article 1D within our bylaws, which currently just says all GHAC members shall serve without compensation. There is some verbiage within the city's request or their verbiage, but I played devil's advocate all day, so I could really easily wiggle through that, I think, and get compensation if I wanted to. So this is much more clear. We have no compensation. We serve without compensation. No question about it. Thank you. There's the, that's the.
Just if you want to reference.
Yeah. See where the. something new, but that's like, okay. So what we're proposing would be to basically remove, oh, let me see here. So we would keep, sorry, my notes got mixed up. We would keep 1D, but then we would remove L and M from our current bylaws, which L is a member shall recuse themselves from any participation in matters which create a conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest. A conflict of interest generally exists when the matter to be considered by the GHAC may produce a benefit or detriment to the member or the member's family. So removing that, but there is within their verbiage, a conflict of interest clause. And it fairly well is a little bit more in depth than ours, but it's pretty much the same thing. In the performance of board or commission duties, avoid any action or activity that creates a conflict of interest or an appearance thereof, or confers a financial gain or personal benefit to myself, a family or household member, or anyone with whom I have a business or employment relationship. So it kind of gets a little bit more into the weeds there than ours does. So we're perfectly fine removing ours, adding that. And then M, within our bylaws currently, area commissioners in the performance of all commission activities shall engage in the highest standards of ethical conduct to include maintaining professional levels of courtesy, respect, consideration, integrity, and objectivity towards fellow commissioners, the public at large, and anyone having business before the commission, as well refrain from harassment, intimidation, and discrimination in any form. And within the verbiage of the Pledge of Ethical Conduct in and of itself, there are many different aspects of this that touch upon that. And so it kind of feels like this really, with the whole, are there 11 items here? It really covers all of M. So if we remove the L and M from ours, we would then add in the city's verbiage to an additional article within our bylaw, so it would be Article 9. And so that's, again, something we've discussed, and then keeping the verbiage as they have it within their pledge, so not altering that or anything of that nature. See here, so again, that's something we'll be discussing in the next committee meeting as well. And we've also been discussing the attendance policy. So trying to see if it makes sense. There's 3 absences correct before you get a warning, and then the 4th absence is when you would have to request any
Just the petition process.
Petition process, yes, go through the petition process to see if any of those prior will be approved absences. And so what we're trying to do is get everything together, bundled together, so we can make one bylaw change instead of multiple bylaw changes and have to continually come back and reread something and then sit for a month and reread again. So trying to get all that bundled together instead of multiple across the year this year. And let's see here. I think that was all that we were discussing in the past meeting. So at this point, we're not going to be doing a vote or anything like that. Just kind of wanted to make everybody aware of what we were discussing. And so if you do have any feelings around the adoption of the Pledge of Ethical Conduct or removal of any of the, L or M or anything like that, feel free to come to us in the Government Legislation Committee meeting on the 28th here at the Hilltop Library. If you can't make it, feel free to shoot me an email and we can, I can bring that up during the meeting as well. So, questions, comments, concerns, short stories, quips. Beautiful, thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, so now we'll turn over to our chair, Sarah, for planning and economic development.
For last meeting.
Hi, everyone. We didn't meet last month, but we are still working on, delivering the Hilltop the Hilltop book that we created with Dean. Thank you so much. So next meeting, we're gonna work on like ways to get it out to everybody so they can find their new home. We'll be meeting April 16 at 6 p.m. at the library. Thank you.
All right, and reports from our Public Safety Committee from Chair Carla.
So we didn't meet last month, but we do have a meeting scheduled April 21st here at the library, 6:30 p.m. I invite everyone to attend. We will be discussing parking issues. The Highland West Civic Association will be joining us. There are significant issues in that part of our area. Also with Link Us coming through, we do want our neighborhood to be walkable and be able to, for bicyclists to use it. And so with the parking hodgepodge as it is, it makes it a little bit more dangerous for us all. So again, April 21st, here at 6:30.
It says April 14th. Is that public safety committee?
It's not moved till 21st.
Unfortunately, not all,
About that.
it's not always scheduled on the exact same, so they get changed sometimes.
It could have just been where we had like it scheduled before, like on a certain like second to Thursday of the month. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, it's currently-
I just, but it is for sure the 21st. Just ignore that. It's 6:30 the 21st.
Alrighty, folks, and then last but not least, recreation and parks, and we'll hand it back over to Joe.
Thank you. Okay, we met at Glenwood Park on the 21st and did an audit walkthrough of that. That report will be published within our documents and shared with the city as part of our annual audit reporting process soon. Generally good status in the basketball court, pool, playground, shelter house. Room for improvement still in the lower level restoration there. I want to thank all the commissioners and our community partners that came out from Highland West. We are still waiting to hear back. This is really for committee members here for the city park and rec response, scheduling response over the summer to do that annual review of 2025. We wanted to align as best as possible with their planning, strategic planning processes as well. We're trying to be flexible. I reached out to Morgan again this weekend to get a response, but I'll keep messaging. Next meeting is the 18th at Alkire Woods. That's at 9 a.m. followed by Riverbend Park at 10 a.m. And we look forward to seeing you out in the parks this summer. Is there anything else from commissioners for Park and Rec that you want to mention right now? I think.
Alrighty, thank you again, Joe. So as of right now, we did go ahead and vote on all of our standing items. So we currently do not have any unfinished business unless any commissioners or our partners have some last minute things to bring up to us.
That's fine.
Did you have an announcement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll be quick. Y'all can get out of here. I reached Sherfield with the Office of Violence Prevention. I came here, I think, last year, in place of my colleague, Siobhan Jones. So we are hosting a spring break skate party this Friday. It is free. It's at Skate Zone 71. We've been getting a lot of calls about it. So I've been trying to get some of our CECs out to some of the area commissions, the schools, to pass out the information. We're hoping to pack it out. So it's completely free for youth and adults that come with youth. So that is free skates, free entry skates, tokens, and let's see, and a drink voucher and game cards. So pass it along to anyone you know, your families you know. Come on out this Friday. It's at 10 a.m. It's gonna be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. But they'll be able to skate afterwards, after this, as long as they're in the building. So other than that, our office has been doing a series of community conversations centered around de-escalation and domestic violence. Some in the schools and some in the communities. If any of you are interested in hosting one, please let me know. I'll I'll have my digital card out after this meeting. And we have also been doing some community conversations in the Juvenile Intervention Center or the GHAC. We've been in a series of those. We actually have one this week as well, and we complete those in May. They've been going really well. So that is all the announcements that I have from our office. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'll stay after.
Thank you. All right, guys, so, once again, we currently do not have any new business. As long as all minds and hearts are clear on any new business. Beautiful. So moving forward, we can actually go ahead, and adjourn. Our next full commission meeting will be May 5th, same time, so same location, 6:30, right here at the Hilltop Library. And I hope to see you all in one piece, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Second and all in favor.
Second, all in favor? All right, adjourned.